coming back this week with Stranger Things, Volume 2, the finale of Season 5, the finale of the entire show.
I do think as the shows went on or certain scenes, everybody was complaining about, especially the first episode in Volume 1 and the first couple one, how the CGI and the FX weren't good, considering the fact that the amount of money they were spending on this thing. But when essentially when Volume 2 and the movie came out, it was at that point it was really up to par.
Yeah, I was really moved actually by the finale. I was crying. It was New Year's Eve, just weeping in my bed watching the show. And I didn't start watching the show when it came out. I started watching, I think, season 3. That's when I joined and then continued to watch after that. But I don't know. I think I love the characters so much that like where they ended up and how the show wrapped up really was emotional. I feel like the emotional impact was really there, and I also feel like because I've been consuming so much content of the actual actors on this press tour, I felt like very connected to them as well. So it kind of felt like a saying goodbye to not only the characters but also to these actors part of their lives and like I guess how they're showing up for this show in public life, um after this it's done, they're not going to come back and play these characters. Maybe they will in like 20 years or something, but like for right now they're done. So it was very emotional for me to watch it, and I feel like they did a really good job at like hitting a lot of the emotional beats, a lot of the things that I had been thinking about throughout the show's run. I feel like all of that really came to fruition. And I know people have so many issues with this finale. Like I haven't seen like a positive review of this show or this season on the internet yet. Everyone has issues with it. And I'm sure some of their issues are valid. Like I'm not gonna say it's not, but I'm just because it's not like it was a perfect season and it wasn't a perfect show either. But I
Mm.
do feel like emotionally I felt really connected to the characters. And I think that's what it was about more than anything else. And that's what I took away from it and what really moved me as a viewer. The big, stunts and the big set pieces and the visual effects and all that other stuff, like all that is important because that's what the show is hasn't chosen to include, but it's not really what I was focused on necessarily. So that's why I think maybe I enjoyed it more. And I think that you're right, like volume 2, a lot of that stuff was definitely up to par, and I think mainly because like were showing it in theaters, so maybe they had a more of an incentive to really like get that stuff correct.
The Jaffa Brothers implementation of nostalgia, there are some issues I have with it still, but their intention of creating an homage to that era of movie and cinema was still, still fully an original cohesive idea. I mean, yeah, there are plenty of like loopholes and plot holes in this series. What show doesn't? But they aren't egregious. You can kind of somewhat accept them. I do feel like with this season 5, especially the second Volume 2, they did try to close as many loopholes and plot points that were abandoned in previous episodes and previous seasons, and they kind of decided to go back like, all right, cool, we have to finish these and everything on a neat bow, and I think they accomplished that as much as they could.
Honestly, my biggest issue with the show and this season in particular was like some of the acting choices and but mostly the writing. Like and
Yeah.
the writing in terms not of like overall plots, but the writing in terms of just like dialogue, what people would say. They used goddamn maybe like a billion times in this one season. Like they used it in every other sentence for every single character. And I was just like, maybe let's not do that. Like let's just take it out. Or
Mm-hmm.
let's use it very sparingly. Like it was so it's because I guess maybe they can't curse and like they can't say the F word or whatever. So like maybe they just added that
Yeah.
in order to like cover that up. But we did get an F word drop and I was waiting for that. I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. But yeah, it's honestly some of the writing choices. Like, and I think the thing that bothered me the most in season 2 in volume 2 was Will's coming out.
Yeah.
Not that they actually did it, because I think that was very important for his character to do it, but because it was just it just happened at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Like they should have carved out a different space for that scene to take place in. And I
Mhm.
feel like them kind of putting it right before they're about to leave, it lessened the it kind of takes you out of it, and then it kind of lessens not the stakes, but just the moment just didn't feel right, because it's like this is a huge thing that he's doing, and I know this is a sci-fi show, but ostensibly this is still the 80s. Like this, the height of the AIDS epidemic. This is a
Yeah.
huge thing to be talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like we're just coming out and it's like present day and like your parents and whatever are maybe very understanding. Like it's a very different
Mhm.
world that we're inhabiting at this point in time. And I just feel like him doing that at that moment, right before they're about to leave to go kill Vecna, like it just felt like the absolute wrong time to do this. And that kind of pissed me off, just because it's like it was an important scene. And I feel like that scene wasn't done justice because of where they placed it
Yeah.
in the story.
I feel like that plot point, as far as Will and him. I mean, let's be honest, in the beginning of him, the first three seasons, the idea of him not liking girls was not that big deal because almost every boy at that age thinks girls are kind of icky in a
Mm-hmm.
way, so it was okay. But then as Noah Shop himself reveals his sexuality before the filming of season 4, and then they kind of, okay, we're gonna merge real life into this, and then it became a thing where you have people shipping him and Mike, and that becomes a whole thing. And so now, as now he's out and proud, they kind of have to now. I did love the stuff with him and Robin,
Yeah.
that whole coming out, but then some other aspects were kind of done with a deaf him.
I kind of wish that they did it in the first episode. That way it had already, first of all, there would be time for them to really get that out. And it would be a much like, there would be like space to hold that, because there was no space to hold it once he says it. It's like, okay, everybody in the truck, we're on our way to the Upside Down. Like it's over in like a
Mm.
couple of minutes. And I feel like the character probably deserved a little bit more time
Yeah.
to like get that together. Like I understand that. And see, but the issue with this is that a lot of time was taken up in other seasons unwisely.
Yeah.
The whole California plot, like what were we doing with that? The whole Russia issue, like if it was going to be about the characters, then I feel like we could have figured that out. Like they didn't have to go all the way across the country. Like they could have moved to stay close by, and then there would still be some contact with the rest of the group, and maybe we
Mm.
could have had those conversations. Maybe he could have talked to Robin earlier than that. Like, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like, because now it's like the final season, everything's rushed, and we have this huge big bad that we have to deal with. Like there's too much stuff going on, and then the characters moment, some of them get lost.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of that, we could have figured that
Yeah.
out. I think the issues for me were like some stuff that they already did in previous seasons that you have to now retcon, that you have to like address and whatever. But the mistakes were already made, so now you're trying to like figure it out now, and that's one of the issues. But I
Mm.
also feel like in terms of like our characters who aren't straight, our characters who aren't white, they seem to suffer more than everyone else.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's due. I think that's due to just like them not wanting to address these things in a real way. Cause like there's stuff in there where it's like almost political, but they don't really touch it because they don't really want to. So it's
Mhm.
just kind of like, well, then there's nothing really else. There's nothing to say. Like if it's weird that you're setting this in this time period and not addressing some of these problems. I feel like that's what comes off to me as disingenuous, because it's
Yeah.
like you want to set the show in the 80s and you want to have characters who aren't straight, you want to have characters who are black, but you're not touching any of that stuff really. Lucas and Max are like the best relationship in that show, and like that is to me like the best example of like good partnership within the show. Like I just feel
Even
like
even better than some of the adult relationships.
People who are together in real life,
Yeah.
like not Nancy and Jonathan being dating for 10 years, and I still don't give a crap about the relationship. Like, I couldn't care less when they broke up. I said, okay, well, and we're on to the next scene. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, Lucas and Max are literally like the best relationship in that entire show. So when Mike and Eleven have their moments, it's just kind of like, okay. It's like we have, to me, it feels more like we have to see this because these are like two of the biggest stars on the show. And maybe the fans want to see their relationship develop
Yeah.
as like a parasocial thing. Not in terms of like a real, like they got a deep connection, because it doesn't really feel that way to me. Honestly, like the ending when he's leaving her and like, or she's leaving him and she's like choosing to stay in the upside down and die. And he's like having this really visceral reaction to her leaving. Like, I was like, oh, right. I forgot that you guys were like,
A thing.
I forgot that you loved her so much. Like, I wasn't thinking about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
When they bring back Callie and her and Callie talk, and they both realize, yeah, they're gonna repeat the same cycle over and over again, create new Henrys or create new Janes or Callies, based on our blood, no matter what. And then Hopper's like, oh, she spoke to her. I don't know who she is, but apparently they grew up together, and she said something, and now 11's different. I'm a killer if something happens. I was like, whoa, buddy, that's a lot. Like you just met this person. It's clear she has a backstory with 11, and then also from season 2, and then you jump, and then they coalesce because there are two people, well, three people that that have abilities. Will can do some shit. Elle and Callie, and then and Vecna, who is Henry. Four people. So there's a common bond the two of them share. And the first thing you do when you see this person who has abilities just like your adopted daughter is go, I don't like you. I'm going to kill you now. It's really crazy.
the ending right before Winona kills Vecna with the hatchet, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like showing like the mess this man has done in these people's lives. Like, how he absolutely like really just ruined like a lot of people's lives, but this group in particular, like he really like messed with them in a serious way. Like, a lot of people have died because of him.
Yeah.
That felt good because I was like, yeah, let's address that. Let's address actually the full damage of this man. Like, I don't want him to be humanized, really. Like, he's obviously gone through a lot and he was a child and he shouldn't have gone through that, but he also still chose it as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, you gotta die. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm not a fan of this era of every villain somehow needs to be redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember that really hitting its peak with like once again the Star Wars sequel trilogy with Kylo Ren. Oh, we have to redeem him, and it ruined basically the end of the trilogy. Is like, Will's like, oh, I know his story now. He was just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he tries to humanize him. Everybody's like, nah, fuck all that shit.
Yeah.
He needs to
Yeah.
die. He needs to die.
Your time is up. Everyone was really upset because more people didn't die. I'm like, this isn't, and the Duffer Brothers said it too. Like, this isn't Game of Thrones. Like, people aren't just gonna die. Like, and also they want to keep these characters alive so they can come back later. Like, so yeah, I'm fine with nobody dying. I'm like, yeah, y'all don't need to die. You're okay.
Y'all have wiped a lot of people off the table, like multiple seasons off, and I love how they kept teasing the whole time Steve might die through every single season.
Yes.
And then they did the I think it was a recent interview, and they have all the Funko Pops, and like Steve's Funko falls off the table, and everybody goes, "Oh no!" And then you see it play out this season where like, "Oh, Steve's finally gonna die," and then the person to save him is Jonathan.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked that one. That was cute. I loved all of Steve and Dustin stuff. Like, Dustin was really still grieving and dealing with a lot of that stuff, trauma from Eddie. And they like physically fight. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like the girls are fighting, like, stop it.
Two sides about Robin's character in a way. The frenetic pace, and like I understand there are some people in like serious moments who cannot be serious. They have to wisecrack or make a joke. But in my head, I'm like, girl, y'all's about to die. Like every 10 seconds, cannot be a joke. I need some sense of maturity.
The theory that 11 is still alive. I think she's still alive. Like, they went all the way to Iceland to film her scene. Like, to me, that's like you're telling us that she's still alive. And yeah, like because they had all of the hedgehogs, whatever, on her, like she wouldn't have been able to use her powers anyway. So yeah, like that checks out to me. People think that she's dead. There's this whole conformity gate thing online, which is like Vecna is playing a trick on the audience. I was like, y'all, it's over. Like, let it go. Like, you always have these episodes to go back to and watch. Like, just there's gonna be another spinoff, whatever. Like, just stop coming up with the theories. There were people who wanted a petition to like release all the extra like cut scenes and stuff. It's like, I feel like as much as the fans have made this show big, they have also been like extremely entitled and like, I don't know. It's just very weird when people do stuff like this, because to me, it's just like, at the end of the day, they spent a year making this show. Like, everyone worked really hard, and like whether or not you liked what happened at the end, like I still think it was at least competently done and like well done in moments.
It's a seminal piece of modern, entertainment. It's gonna be up there. So you're gonna measure it with your Sopranos, of course, your Game of Thrones, your Lost, all that. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be one of those iconic pieces of I can't even call it TV. I don't know how to but of entertainment. It's going to be up there for a lot of people to kind of like, let's see if we can recreate this kind of magic once again. Like, did you like that clip? Well, you can listen to the entire podcast because the 16mm Film Crew podcast is available on all major podcast platforms.